Hey, Laura. Mine just. Hey, Laura.
They were originally leading up to the front door.
Mine keeps crashing. You got another iPad over there anywhere? Okay.
Todd
I'll share with Elizabeth.
moved.
But this is correct, because it's got the transom over it. The overed window. No, you can't do that. This is the only door casing that can go on that. But they could change the window door if it's a solid wood to have half light, glass, right?
Well, there is a light.
There is,
The top of the door's a
I
window.
know the glass and the side light, but is the door solid?
No, it's partly
It's,
glass.
well, that's good, that's what they're supposed to have. That's appropriate.
I'm pretty sure.
A wealth of knowledge person.
I need to be sitting down
He
here.
sent, they asked him, they've got a copy of it.
And they can't paint that trim, they wanna paint the window trim.
No,
color.
we're right at 6.
Yeah, they can't, yeah. I know he's not.
He is.
He's making it worse. So maybe we should have, address that, go by and check on it, to see if he's falling into. Yeah.
Well, I'm scared he's gonna come back online and do what he wants to do.
I just wondered if he understands
Yes, he
English.
does.
He does. It's just, oh, I know. Yeah.
He just ignored it.
All right, ladies, y'all ready?
Did you hear from the
Well, what?
Did you hear from
No, because I don't think they're gonna listen. We're gonna have a meeting and word that.
Y'all ready? All right, it's 6:01. We'll go ahead and call this meeting of the Historic Preservation Commission to order. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the last meeting?
Yes. I move they stand approve as written.
All right, we got a move to approve as written. Do I have a second? Got a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so those are gonna pass up. Let's just go on and get to business then. 116 William Street. Hey, Mr.
Evening,
Bradley,
Commission.
if you'll just speak right in there, because they're recording us now.
Got you covered. Is that good?
Thanks, sir. Yes, sir, that's good.
My name's Ross Bradley, live at 116 William Street. And if you have the packet before you, we're looking to close in the exterior porch on the southwest rear of the home. That's about all I got.
Are you, I'm not hearing you. Is that turned on?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
I can speak a little louder if you'd like.
Thank you. Some of us are old.
Yeah, basically what I was saying is that what's in the packet, it's a pretty simple exterior renovation we're doing on that rear southwest corner of the home.
We got some technical difficulties up here, but we can do. Does anybody have any questions about what he'd like to do with that porch? Over on William Street. Looks like you're just filling in the screen.
Yeah, we're just taking the screened-in porch out. We've got some 6-foot casement windows we're putting in. We'll go back with the original true 1x12 siding to match, and then obviously we'll repaint it, but to match the existing colors.
Okay. We're having to share iPads up here if you're wondering, and they're dying one by one.
That's all right.
Yep, we got 2 that aren't working now, Mr.
Yeah,
Kelly.
here we are here.
I love that.
Look, we all get the
I
rubber.
do too.
Okay. It keeps blinking on. We appreciate your IT.
So this is,
The long ones are the ones you're gonna do the case, the,
Yes, ma'am. If you don't
Frank,
mind, if I can approach, I'll show you what I'm.
On it.
All right.
these?
The windows you see from the street.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other side is just a French door set that's on the interior of the home that we're moving to the exterior. Yep, so that's where the windows are going.
Right here.
Yes, ma'am.
So it's got that same linear.
if you're facing the house, is this on the right?
It's on the back
Right
right
here.
corner.
Right here.
If you're facing the house, you can't see.
Right back
it.
there.
Right back there.
Yeah.
Though you don't see much from the side either, right?
No, ma'am.
What is that in back of that lattice that Edith used to have back there?
I'm not familiar where the lattice is. You talking about the fence, the brick pigeonhole fence?
Mm-hmm.
It's just a backyard, so we've got a trampoline, 17 playhouses,
Oh, okay.
1,000
It
toys.
was real rickety at one time.
The brick?
Well, it was just,
About to fall
it
in.
was about to fall in.
I haven't noticed that.
I think Paul addressed that when he was there.
Did he?
I think
That's when he added that little carport
Okay.
that you wanted to, because he wanted to park his car.
Well, you got lucky because
Yes.
it's about to fall in.
If it had, I probably
160.
would not have been able to put that fence back. So we're gonna try to preserve it as best we can.
Oh, I love that house.
Mm-hmm, we all do.
Does anybody have any comment from the public about the changes at 116 William Street? Y'all have any further discussion? All in favor of approval, say aye. Anybody opposed? All right, sir.
I appreciate y'all very much.
Thank you.
Make it beautiful.
Thank you for keeping it looking like it should look, yeah. Yeah, historically correct. Thank you.
Is it working now? Okay, Miss Jane might want that one because I'm sharing with Alyssa, so you can get off the ground.
I like the ground.
Well, we can get you a chair over there if you want to stay on the
this one's
ground.
crashing, and I'll fix it.
There you go.
Scared to touch it.
120 Mears Street, if you'd like to come on up and talk to us, please. Hey, how are you?
I'm here on behalf of Graceful Manor Senior Care Home, 120.
Pull it.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
There.
I'm Kelly on behalf of Graceful Manor Senior Care Home on 120 Mears. And I am here to ask for the permission to add 12 suites onto the building for Memory Center. And I have a rendering here. I also brought the architect, so if y'all have questions, would y'all like for me to
Sure.
come forward with this?
We love pictures.
This is, this one.
Oh, let me get,
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Miss Jane.
There, and they have a picture.
Mhm.
They have a picture of it, and you can ask this gentleman here any specific questions.
I had a question on the parking lot where,
If you could address the questions at the microphone so we could get the answers on the record. Thanks.
Okay.
oh, yeah.
looks great.
Nice. Okay, so the parking lot's still in the front then, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
That was what I wasn't sure about. This is,
The old building is brick, and of course we painted it, you guys gave me permission to paint it. And so the board and matting siding will be painted the same color as the brick is painted, but the stacked rock will accent the porticos. And then the board and matting siding just looks craftsman, because the building looks very craftsman.
I think it'll look good with what's there.
Yes, it's a assisted living home. You don't need much parking for assisted living home.
True.
Unless you, that kids.
Radford Street.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's where the employees park, is on the side. And so all of the other parking is for guests.
And we'll work with Kelly and her architect and Clyde, the contractor,
Yes,
to make sure everything else is zoning compliant as well on submissions through the review process.
and you're doing code for parking and all that,
Yeah, parking and any other zoning concerns.
okay?
And I think they should be fine from the renderings, but again, we'll give it a full review once they get to that level, if y'all give them an approval.
Any questions? Anybody else, ladies? Do we have any comment from the public on 120 Mears, the addition? It is pretty.
It's a vast improvement over what's there.
especially memory seniors.
Right.
By vote, I guess I get a seat, place, right?
We'll load you up tonight.
I'll hold off a day or two.
Hopefully you get to wait a long time.
She wants
But
you
it
to
is-
build a
it's really
penthouse on
an
the top.
improve-
She can have that.
So you can see everything.
It is an improvement over there, and I'm glad you kept to the craftsman look of it and to make it stay historically.
Me and Miss Rita Dickinson split the sale.
Yes, yes.
So she took the church and then I took the building, and so it worked out well.
That's great.
And we've been able to help a lot of people and add to employees. Yes.
Well, that's good.
You can get them to work. You can find them this day and time, it's hard.
Right.
Thank you. Mhm.
Well, without any questions or comments, can I get a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve. I believe it complements the existing structure. I make a motion to approve the addition as presented here.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Ms. Brassey, second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you. 301 Broad Street.
Oh my gosh, my computer did weird.
Good afternoon. How are you guys doing today?
Hey, how are you?
Excellent. I'm here. We have currently purchased the 301 Broad Street right behind here.
Right.
We are pretty much suggesting, don't know which one y'all are looking at right now first. It would be the exterior with the two exterior colors and the fencing. I guess it'd be the front picture
Okay.
of the house. So we're pretty much requesting that we would change the front door to a double door. And then on the exterior paint, we would want to go with the white, keeping it white, but then do a bluish green trim on the windows. And then also on the front porch floor. And then the railing, which would be about a 4-foot fence, would go along the front of the property to keep our kids pretty much inside.
Okay.
And then also the arbor that would go on the front walkway with a gate that would also help keep our kids in front.
So you're talking, are you moving the fence out to the sidewalk? Is that where you want to move it out to?
No, it'd still be up on top of the wall, not down low, but be up on top of the wall.
Got it. Okay, so it looks like we don't control color, so, but it looks like we have,
Yeah, I got a copy I can hand y'all.
3 things that we're looking at: the fence, the arbor, and the door.
Yeah, I think we have that. Yeah.
Did y'all hear that, ladies? So it's a 3-part, ma'am. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I hadn't gotten to the
You
backyard
keep
yet.
going, and then we'll go.
So, moving on towards the backyard, the next photo would have an above image of where the actual whole fence would go to fence in the actual property. We would also request a gated fence, solar, to the driveway to keep the kids from going out as well. And then towards the back corner, left corner, if you're looking at that above image, it would be where we'd be proposing a pool for the property.
So is this behind the bamboo stand, the stand of bamboo, where you're talking about doing?
It would actually be in front of that bamboo. So if you kind of see that above aerial view, you have the main house, and then that other is the actual garage. So back behind, pretty much behind the garage is where the actual pool would
It's not
go.
where this arrow is then? No.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
That's just stating the property map.
Okay, in that vacant corner, okay.
Correct.
Okay.
And then that picture, that aerial, smaller aerial view down below with the black rectangle would be the actual fenced-in front part of the yard, which would be that 4-foot fence.
Okay. We got 4 things we got to take bite by bite. All right, y'all want to start with the fence? Well, first of all, is there any comment from the public about the fence, the arbor, the door, and the pool at 301 Broad Street?
And the color of the house.
We don't control color.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'll pick the nice one, though. We don't control color. We're not Madison.
No, because we do have the idea that we can make suggestions, so.
But suggesting it.
And you can accept proposals too.
Yes.
Or what?
And you can accept proposals too.
Yeah,
That's the can, that's,
Condition of,
right.
yeah, so, the separate can of worms that doesn't apply to you. All right,
Sir.
so what we got? Y'all want to start with the fence?
Sounds good.
Got 'em. Can I get a motion to approve the fence?
I'll move.
Got one?
No, no,
No what?
the fence
What about,
and the arbor, you gonna do that separately?
we're doing them all one at a time, like I said.
The arbor and the fence together?
They're separate items.
Okay, the arbor's separate from the fence.
Correct. All right, so,
Are we doing the fencing front yard with metal arch?
all right, let's do this one more time. We're gonna do the fence, then the arbor. Yes, ma'am. And then we're gonna do the door, and then we're gonna do the pool. Everybody ready? So we are working on the fence. All in favor of approving can I get a motion to approve the fence?
Moved.
Ms. Brown moved. Can I get a
A
second?
second.
I got a second. All in favor of the fence, say aye.
Aye.
Fence carries. How about the arbor? Any questions about the arbor?
Can we make a motion?
You can right now talk about anything you want.
I move we deny I can do that kind of motion, negative, the proposal for the arbor because it is too casual for the house. If you want to put that in the backyard, with a garden entrance, I would not have a problem with it, but in the front yard, it's too casual and will block the beautiful doorway that you have. That's I move that we not accept that proposal.
Okay, so I got a motion to not accept the arbor. Do I have a second on the motion not to accept the arbor? Okay. That motion will fail.
Okay.
Do we have a motion to accept the arbor? Shoot's not an option.
more untrained IT. Here I go.
What? Where's he going? Right down here, right at the front of the house. Right in front of the door. Well, that's why I said I didn't want it to.
I don't think that will look good.
No.
Then you gotta make another motion to deny it.
It's working.
It would block the view of the house.
It would.
Yeah,
I don't think it needs an arbor.
right, it doesn't.
The fence that you're doing, can you do a gate that just blends with?
Well, if y'all were to deny the arbor, then I would want some type of gate just so we can
Yeah.
keep the kids locked in. I just
I
can't
think
keep
it's
it
much
open.
more in keeping with the spirit of the house.
We're still at motion zero, so whatever y'all decide.
You wanna move on to the other two and revisit that one at the end?
We can.
Do we need somebody else to make a motion or one way or the other on that one, or are you tabling it?
Well, y'all can make a motion on it, right?
Of course.
To deny the arbor or to allow it?
Is that how it would read?
Well, the motion was made to deny the arbor, which died for a lack of a second. If you wanted to reintroduce that motion, see if you could get a second. You can make the same motion, or you can amend your motion and make a new motion.
Well, it died for a second because my iPad died.
Okay, so you can introduce the motion again and consider it a second time if you like, exactly like it was before. Whomever would wish to proffer that motion.
So we have a motion to deny the arbor. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor of denying the arbor, raise your hands. Is yours up? That's 4. All opposed? I think it's it's fine, so that's a 4-1.
Okay.
So you'll have to talk about a gate there or something else.
But a gate is fine, though,
Gate
that's
would-
level with the rest of the
Right.
fence, correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Then there was the door.
Susan has pictures.
Well, I think y'all have the same picture. If y'all wanna see it. That's the oldest picture that we have found.
That's an old picture.
Just a double door, because right now, the actual house,
Can't see it.
front door is off center of the house. So we would want to do a French style door, but just keep it all glass, not have the space in between.
Yeah.
It's not appropriate for the house.
I did find, at one time, there was another house where your house is situated, so this is your house. And then the brick house next to you headed north.
Please speak out of the microphone so we could pick everything up.
I'm the contractor. That door was added prior to the existing of the house, so somebody put that door in that is already there. So that's not the original door.
No, but it was like, with the picture we have is in the 1920s when it was there.
Maybe, I mean, if you look at it from the inside, it doesn't look like the original door of the house.
I don't want to speak for them, but I think what I understand is they're concerned that it's not appropriate for the style of house, even though they didn't.
The entablature of your style house requires that over window and one door with a side light, or sometimes they have two side lights.
So then I guess I would oppose, or not oppose, but suggest with not doing the double doors, but keeping that single door. But since it's off center and it does have a window on the side, it does have the window at the top that we want to keep, but it also has a window on the side. We would just want to move that door closer to this left window and add another one on the right side so it's symmetrical.
That works.
And then it keeps the
That
history of
works.
it.
That's different than a double door, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
That works.
That's fine?
Yeah.
Okay.
As long as you keep the transom and the side light, and you can have another side light.
Correct.
And even if the door was added, the
It's
door is period to that house and the area, so.
Well, we would probably
whoever-
keep that original door, but we just want to shift it so it's all symmetrical
Gotcha.
in the transit.
Because even though it's not original to the house, as she's saying, it's the correct period and style for that house.
So-
Whereas double doors would not be at all.
So basically, you're getting at like a 12-30-12 door with the transom. Minimum 12-inch side lights, or whatever. I don't know what size it is now. But an additional side light on the other side.
Correct, yeah, because it just has the one right now.
With the transom
Yep,
and side lights and the door. They'll have to be very narrow, yeah. But I think you've got enough room to do that.
we do.
Okay, we need a motion to require,
Yeah, let me get it phrased though.
yeah, phrase that.
Phrase it,
I'm gonna let
Mitch,
you
and-
sit here. That'll ease my headache. All right, so what we got is, what we're gonna suggest, we need to make a motion for a transom, 2 side lights, and move that door a little bit closer in like you want to.
Correct, yes, sir.
I make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of that? All right, so that one passed, everybody.
Thank you.
And should we, for the record, deny the double doors?
It basically is by approving the other one. I mean, you approved one particular style that is agreed to.
So we're good on that.
Okay.
Lastly, pool in the backyard. Discussion. Anybody from the
You're
public?
going to invite us to come swim?
Yes, ma'am.
I don't
Leave
have
his
a
doors
problem.
alone. If you'll leave his doors alone.
I don't have a problem with that. It seems to be well hidden, private.
Yes, ma'am.
Can I get a motion to approve the pool?
I want to ask one question. Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
granite or vinyl?
It'll be gunite or concrete.
Okay.
Concrete.
Concrete.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Can I get a motion to approve the gunite or concrete pool?
I'll make a motion to approve the pool.
Can I get a second?
Concrete pool.
All in favor of the pool? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
How old are your children?
We have one that's 1.5, and then our second is expected in July.
Oh, my.
Are you related to the Carsons?
No, ma'am.
Y'all bought the house from the
Hmm. He was actually my lender when we were looking for homes.
Your what?
My lender, my financial lender, and it just came about as pretty much a blessing that we came on it, so.
Well, it's a wonderful house.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
We look forward to,
grew up playing in that house, so.
we'll do it justice for sure.
And I saw on your thing Tiffany Mitchell,
Yes, sir.
wife, I taught her. in
Oh, yeah?
school. Yeah, I did. Thought I recognized.
your age.
2 years and I'm out. I'll tell everybody my age. Put that one in the record. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you all.
Thank you.
My iPad's dead, so I think what we got next is 108 North Street.
Mine's rebooting.
Okay, we got one rebooting. Hey, Mr. Parker.
Hey, Mr. Alligood. My name's Josh Parker, and y'all have 108 North Street's probably familiar to y'all because last time my sister was here to represent me. Her name was Jessica Stone. I brought some copies here, some hard copies of some photos. Can I?
Yeah.
I only brought 3. I didn't know there was 5 of y'all, so.
Well,
We can share.
we can move around.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry, to keep bothering you, Pat.
Originally, there were 6 over 6. I drove
So I've enclosed a letter in there. I don't know if y'all have seen it or not, but I'll go ahead and read it to the Historic Preservation Committee. The last time an application was submitted for 108 North Street, Monroe, Georgia, it was determined that I needed to change the window pattern from a 2/1 style back to a 6/6 style window. This decision was made based on the idea that I could simply replace the mullions within the window. It was also based on what other windows appeared to be at neighboring homes based on Google Maps Street View to keep congruency within this section of the Mill District. Since this decision was made, I've consulted with my contractor and window vendor in search for a solution. It was determined that trying to alter the current windows would damage them, and the only solution would be to order completely new windows. This creates a huge problem for the project at 108 North Street that is 90% completed now and 150% over budget. I'm being sarcastic. Number one, there's no refund on the custom windows that are in place now. They would have to be thrown away. Would be a huge waste, and obviously add to the cost of the rehab. Secondly, the 6/6 style windows are custom. They're 2 to 3 months to order them. This has become a common problem lately in the construction world. Before materials were readily available, of course, not as costly. Obviously, this is going to put the moving in February. I was planning on moving in February. Obviously, February's passed. With this delay, it could probably be June before the home could be occupied. I've included photos to show the current street view in neighboring homes. From the photos, it shows that the 2 neighboring homes, the blue homes, have a 1/1 style window. That is a vinyl product versus the wood product at 108 North Street. With that being said, you know, I feel the wood window obviously preserves the historic value of the home versus the vinyl product. One photo shows a home that is in the process of a major renovation. It's on the corner of Norris and South Broad. It currently has a 4/1 style window that was recently installed, and I believe that was approved by this committee. Most of the homes on North Street have had the windows replaced, with the majority displaying a 1/1 style window. And with that said, I'd like to request you reconsider my application for the 2/1 style windows that are currently in place, because I feel it really doesn't jeopardize the historic integrity of the home or the neighborhood. I'd also like to add to this, I just want to share some perspective as far as this whole process on the consumer side. I definitely understand I put the cart before the horse in regards to the regulatory jurisdiction of this committee. When I first purchased 108 North Street, I was aware it would need repairs. The house was livable at the time and had functioning electricity and plumbing. However, once I met with my electrician and the plumber, it was determined it was best in the long term to completely rewire and replumb the home instead of patchworking the issues it had. Before I was to spend thousands in this makeover, the security of the home needed to be addressed. None of the windows in the home were secure or functional. One window was completely boarded up, and most of them were broken or like falling out of the house. My contractor recommended changing the sashes out so the windows could be opened and closed properly, and most importantly, locked. I elected to go back with the 2/1, or with a wood window for two reasons. One, it was more readily available, and two, I felt that it kept the historic character of the home. The main reason I went back with the 2/1 product was because I felt it added a character to that style home, and I also believed it would allow more natural light into the home versus the 6/6 style window. But my main goal was to secure the property. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm a local real estate agent, and I have lived in Walton County most of my life. There's a lot of history in Monroe, but I was not aware that a rundown old house on North Street was a part of it. Subsequently, the code office informed me that obviously, I had to come before this board. And sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Anyway, obviously, I had to come before this board, and the reason I say all this is because there's a lot of new blood. The reason I want to share this is to offer a solution to not only the code office, but for this committee. There's a lot of new people moving to Monroe, and if I've been in Monroe my whole life, obviously, shame on me for not doing my due diligence and researching, but I think a solution, my goal was to secure the home and replacing the windows. That was my thought process. Secure the home, and then we can get it fixed on the inside. Because I didn't want to spend all that money to have it fixed on the inside, and then somebody come in and potentially damage it. You never know. Somebody come in and vandalize it. But I feel a solution. The reason I say all that is to say this. A solution moving forward to make sure there's transparency and knowledge of this historic district is whenever utilities are changed, the city could include a notification slip or indicate that that home is in this historic district, and if certain changes are to be made, they must be approved by this committee. And that way, nobody's in my position of, like I said, putting the cart before the horse. But anyway, thank y'all for your time. If you look at the photos here, my house is the tan house, obviously with a 2/1 style window. And you can flip through the photos. This is the house on Broad Street in the corner of Norris. That's a 4/1 style window. This house is on North Street as well. It's actually got both style windows, a 1/1 and a 6/6. This house is across the street. And I guess as a concession to this committee, if you look at the last photo, you can see there's a chain link fence around the home. What I'd like to offer is that I remove that chain link fence and make it beautify the property even more. I believe the neighbor shared an email with Laura. I know it was late this afternoon. She was planning on attending to speak on my behalf or public comment. Laura, were you able to share that with the committee? You're not, okay. Well, she got it in pretty late.
I would let y'all know, we did get an email from Devin Draper, who was James Draper's former wife, I believe, and also one of the property owners on the street, who also did a great many modifications to historic homes without any cart or horse. So that's why a lot of those changes were made on the street that are comparable and in the same area, which is exactly why y'all are crafting the letter to address previous infractions. But yes, we did get the information from a person who also didn't know that they were supposed to come before the committee before they made changes.
Well, go ahead. His suggestion of when utility names are changed, is there some way, does this have to go before?
No, that's a good suggestion. I've actually made it myself in the past, but it's just never been implemented. So thank you for that. It's, again, great minds think alike. So like I said, we've tried to get that done, and I'll reiterate it as a citizen concern.
Yeah, and we've tried with real estate agents to let the people know when they've buying, but they don't always do it. I drove around in the neighborhood, and I think it's a major problem because there is a big difference in the windows of different houses. Sometimes I think they started years ago when aluminum windows became available, and we were not here, and they just did it. So a lot of that is done just for convenience. You know, there was no board. But after we go back and we research, the 6/6 is what is right for the beginning when the houses were built. And I know there's a mix of that, and I guess we need to come to some sort of agreement on that, because if we let one not do 6/6, I don't know I don't know what that would work with, how it would work with that.
So you wouldn't be able to put because we found,
The mullions.
Mr. Kelly found they're like $37.50, be able to put those in.
Yeah, so there's already a piece on that window that has adhesive. And to take that off, you're gonna damage that window. And so the only solution is basically to order, completely new sashes. So, and again, to kind of circle back what I said, the 2/1 style window, obviously it's not 6/6. I think it's very comparable because it does have that trim piece that's, arguably historic. They're in several, you see a 3/1, 2/1, you've seen that in several homes throughout.
Yeah, but they're not right, and we're saying that, we're agreeing with you, they're there, but they're not correct for the house. People have just done it without coming through the proper channels, or before we were even here.
Well, it was to my understanding that a lot of the previous decision was made based off a Google Maps view. And if you go on Google Maps, you can see, I guess, from 2016, whenever it was, a lot of the homes hadn't been updated in that area. But a second reason for the 2/1 style window, I feel that it allows more natural light into the home versus a 6/6 style window. And so that was really the two main reasons that I went back with that window choice. Is I could have went back with a 1/1, but I said, hey, I'm gonna go back with a 2/2. This is before I even knew about this committee. I said, hey, I'm gonna go back with the 2/1 style window to kind of accent that particular home, and at the same time allow more natural light into the home. And yeah, again, whether or not the neighborhood, if they went through this committee and got approval or not, I don't know, but I know that the 2/1 style window it's not like an oddball that sticks out within that neighborhood the way it currently is.
Would this be, and you said you had made this suggestion, I know we've talked about this before. And you've presented it to the city council members, or?
What's that?
About the mill district being in the historic district, the notification when.
Oh, that was just a discussion in the past in planning meetings and things like that, that it would be a good idea to have some sort of notification at that point, because that's where we have the greatest interaction with the public is through utilities, but hadn't been implemented. But that's a completely separate thing that I will suggest again.
All I ask is that if, you know, I understand the purpose of the committee, but I'd also, you know, I guess ask for a little grace and mercy in this scenario and understanding.
Y'all, it's almost extenuating circumstances with the cost and how long it's gonna take to get the stuff done. As chairman, I don't wanna see him have to put the money into taking all these windows out and redoing them. But I'm just one vote on the board. That's,
If we let this one by, what's gonna happen to the next 2 and 3 and 4?
Well, that's a slippery slope argument, and that's for y'all to decide. I'd be happy to go and look at the window. I thought that when I looked.
Well, I
that
mean, there are a
that
bunch of
mullion-
them being,
I thought that mullion was actually a snap-in mullion as well, not glued to the window.
right.
But I can double check. I could have been wrong, but it just looked like it was placed in with basically the same. And unfortunately, you suffer from the fact that I used to sell all of these things in the building material industry. But they were placed in with the diamond star or diamond stud bracket holders. You just push in the wood and then you push in that's the kind of mullion that it looked like to me from looking at it. If it's not that, I would think consideration would be warranted, but if it's just pulling that one out and putting one of those 3750
Right.
ones in, that's a whole nother matter. And I don't know 100% if I'm right or not. That's just the type of mullion that it looked like when I went to investigate, because I figured somebody would ask me.
Could we table this and let you check it out and then bring it up next month?
I'd be happy to. In the meantime, you can do anything else that you're working on the house on.
We're just trying to get, I mean, I'm trying to get it
Including
completed
taking
so
down
we
that
can get it
chain link
occupied.
fence
So
if
I
you
can.
want.
I move that we
can we table it and then let Patrick go look? And if it is the kind that can't be removed easily, can we email vote to leave it like it is?
I don't see any reason why not.
To save you from having to come back over here, because if he gets down there.
Because there's nobody here from the public that would come back for a tabled motion anyway, so it'd be just for y'all's consideration.
Is that all right with y'all?
okay, but y'all remember, if we do that, then the next person that comes along is gonna say, we've already done it. And we've gone against the 6/6.
Which is, I mean, still over 75% of the windows, not on your area particularly, but in the Mill Village overall. I went up and down I really wanted to consider all the angles before I
Right.
said, hey, sorry, you gotta go before the board. But I went up and down all the numbered streets, Norris Street, Radford Street, all the streets, and I would say, just estimating, approximately 75+% of the windows are 6/6, which is what was originally installed in the mill houses and all the shotgun houses in the city. So I'll be glad to go and look at that mullion and see what type it is and verify it. If it's glued on, yeah, then you gotta, it'd be a pain scraping it off and modifying it. So replacing it might be better and easier and cleaner.
And I think the windows across the street, there were more of them that were 6/6 still in use. On the other side of the Broad Street,
Oh, yeah,
South Broad.
on the numbered streets, yeah.
many
two
more of
through
those were
6.
6/6, yeah.
Yeah, probably close to 90%.
Do I have any comment from the public? Comment, it's open forum.
So one, I understand Josh's position because I was in his position on a house I did a couple of years ago. And I would just, you ask about future things, one of the things about the reason for a board and for people and not just a list of rules is for people to exercise discernment and judgment and consider circumstances and all these things. And just understanding his position, and I've been in that position. And then the other thing, just for you guys to consider, I've seen Josh does good work in our town, and he is interested in helping the city of Monroe, and it really discourages people from future things. These kind of things are devastating to people who are trying to do a good thing for our city. And so I just really encourage you guys to consider that.
Well, we agree with you, but we have a book we have to follow. And that's why we're trying to get him to check it out and see what we can do.
And I understand, and that's what we're saying, but when you come before a board, we ask you to exercise the discernment considering all the circumstances of, there's not things in place. And the same thing happened to me. I was working on a house, and I didn't know it was in the historic district until after the fact, and I'd already put windows in, I already put doors in. And so I understand that position, and, I'll just be honest, if I would have had to redo it, I would have lost my shirt, and it would have prevented me from now working on the house that I'm about to get up and talk to you guys. And so I encourage you, just consider that, he said from a consumer's perspective, from people who are on our end, just to really ponder that, before you make your motion. And I agree that as in the future, as people come in, say, no, these are the rules. And that was an extenuating circumstance. And as a board, we had to exercise grace and wisdom. And I just say that as a public comment. So
Thank you, sir.
I just have one more thing. So if you go to this picture here, it should be labeled with an address,
707.
South Broad. That is on the corner of North Street and South Broad. And to my knowledge, they replaced these windows with a 4/1 style window that was approved by this board.
And I wasn't going to make an issue out of it, but I was going to go and check the file on that to see if that was actually approved, because if it's not, they're going to have to change them out. And I didn't want to make an issue about it. But since you mentioned it again, I fully intended to go and check that file and make sure that that's what was approved, because if it's not, they're going to have to change it.
Well, that's a
You gotta check
4/1.
on that then, too.
Absolutely.
Is there any way to verify it right now, or?
I don't have that information in front of me, I'm sorry. Well, we'll find out.
Anyway, it's a wood style window. It's a 4/1. Obviously, 4/1, 2/1. Anyway, I thought I saw a historic zoning. 'Cause I
Oh,
know
yeah, we had a hearing about that house, and they got some approvals, but I don't know if they've met what was approved by
Okay.
doing that. That's why I want to check the file.
That was gonna be my question. This house is literally a stone's throw away from my house, so if you approved a 4/1, 2/1, I would like to request approval for it, so we can move forward.
I move we table it.
Make a motion.
I second it.
Well, somebody's got to make the motion.
I move that we table the COA until we have Patrick go check it out, and also check out 60, whatever it's number.
South Broad Street house on the corner.
Yeah, check out both. the
Norris and
houses.
South Broad. I will.
See you.
And
Report
if it's
back.
easily modifiable, then that's one thing. If it's going to be a big trouble, and like I said,
And we can.
ran a
we
mill
can do-
workshop, I sold all this kind of stuff. If it's going to be cost prohibitive, I'll say so.
And we'll just email and then not have to come back next month. We'll try to do it with email.
So I got a motion to table it, let Patrick go check the two houses out. If it's going to be cost prohibitive, we're going to sign with you.
I'll
Is that what I?
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
All right, all in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye, all right.
Thank you for your time.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Do we have to come before the city council to get this added to utility bills? Or
I don't know. How about we
We saved that
talked
for.
about that after the next item of discussion?
because I was just gonna say, if he would appear before the city council,
We could get a hold of Josh, he'd come back.
he would be
Absolutely.
a great person to.
315 South Madison. Josh Parker Amendment to City Code. We got you.
I want a code after me, if that. So, hey, Sam Davis, I am, it may not look like it, but I am working at 315 South Madison. And I came before this board last year, I believe it was April or May, and I got permission to do the porch, windows, doors, and I actually got permission to enclose the back porch. I've started working on this house, like most old houses. It's been fun, to say the least. But anyways, when I got permission to enclose the back porch, I had Tim, our inspector, come by and look at it with me, and it just needed to be tore down, totally redone. Having said that, I didn't want to put that kind of money just into a small addition like that. So where I'm at today, I've just been pondering this house, trying to decide what I'm going to do with it. And what I would like to do, I don't know if you have original pictures or pictures of what's actually standing now. You can see the back of the house is, it's work, like it's sound, it's structurally sound, the rear of it is, but there's an addition, and then there's an addition on the addition, and then if I would have enclosed the back porch, there would have been an addition on the addition.
On the addition.
On the
It's a
addition,
picture with
right.
the red circle around it.
Right. So the red circle is just the rear part of the house. And what I would like to do is I would like to take that off, okay, totally remove that from the house, and I would like to go back with a new, just put all new. I mean, obviously it would match. Same windows, the same windows that y'all approved for the front will be the same windows for the rear. And I would like to make it 2-story. Okay, and in the 3D rendering that I got for you guys, I'd heard that it was important to y'all to keep the roof, to not have the roof higher. Is that correct? So I would be sure to keep the roof in keeping, and basically it would be taking off what's there and then just putting back. So from the road, from the street, it wouldn't look any different.
Never know it was there.
Yeah, from the street, and it would be. As far as the footprint, it wouldn't be wider. It wouldn't even go deeper than what's existing. It's just tearing off what's there, putting a new foundation, but adding a second a story. Right. And there is, in that mill house, actually interesting enough, there is, I found when I started working on it, there is a second floor in the front of it, which was neat, but the problem is I don't have enough head space for it to be a bedroom according to code. And so I'm trying to get a 3-2. I'm trying to make this house nice for a young family.
Got it.
Is what I'm trying to do. So,
For questions.
You ready?
I have a question. Would you look at this?
yes, ma'am.
Is that what you're trying to do? Yes, ma'am. Have you ever thought about that roof? Look at the water. It's going to go right into your.
Yeah. So this would, because of my
You could,
So the my program, the program that I was using to draw this, there would have to be a valley right there. So there would be so where you're looking at right there, there would be a board coming this way for a valley for it to go right there, and then there would be a gutter right here to catch the water coming off that.
Can you see that, Patrick?
Oh, not in the diagram, but I understand what he's saying. It's basically gonna be either a hip or a valley to run it the other way, or some
Right.
sort of,
Yeah,
or
'cause
some,
right now it's going to run right into it.
yeah, this is like looking at something built with Legos. There's no way to get it exactly right,
Yeah.
with this program that he's drawn
But
with.
he can fix it.
But yeah, he would have to shed the water, and we'd make
Okay.
sure either it had the right
Okay,
pitch.
That's what I'm saying. You'll hold that.
Yeah, just by code, it'd have to have the right pitch to shed the water.
Right.
Okay, just make sure on that one.
And, it'd be a cricket, a valley, a hip, something over there
Right.
to get it out.
We just didn't want you to have a rotten wall.
No, ma'am.
Okay, that was my question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, just no, nothing I think I've said. From the street, it would still look the same. It's really the footprint of the house wouldn't be,
And I heard you say the same windows.
yes, the same windows that were approved. I would order all the same window package and just put
What
those
are
windows.
those windows? I'm not sure. I was on the committee then.
It's kind of the style in there. It's just
It's the 9/9 that's on the,
Well, this one.
what was
one
approved
side.
last year was just a just what's in that picture.
This, in the front looks like 9/9, but in the back it looks like it's 4/4.
In the new picture that I gave you?
The
Side,
Lego
one that
rendering?
has the circle.
Those look
Lego.
like- Those look like 2/2.
Right. So that's what is in there right now.
And
But
you'll
last
tear
year, I got approval to take those out and go back with, I can actually show you a picture.
9/9, I think is what you got.
No, it was just, let me see if I actually have it. So this is the actual picture that's in the file that I got approval from last year.
It's 1/1. Okay. Wish we had the front of this house.
All right. Any questions, comments from the public? All right, can I get a motion to approve?
And I was gonna say this and I forgot, I don't know if obviously, just the trim, everything, there's no board and batten, it would just follow suit with the rest of the house. The windows, the trim and everything would just match what's already there.
Right. Can I get a motion to approve?
I can't see it, everything written up.
Yeah, it's all ours instead right here.
I'm just not understanding it clearly enough to know.
He's basically gonna put a second, build that house back no further
Like
than.
that, with no porch, you taking that off?
Right, but the roof line and everything, you'll never know it's there. The footprint of the house is not changing because that's an addition onto an addition.
The back.
So he's basically taking it back to the original wall of the house
Right.
and then adding back where the porches were
Okay,
in a two-story.
okay.
I'll make a motion
Sounds okay.
to approve as it is.
Yeah.
If that's what you want to do.
I'll make a motion to approve the addition as discussed here.
Can I get a second? Ms. Brown seconded. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposition? Good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
You want these back? No, we'll fold it for fold, we'll keep it.
Got an awning at 116 North Broad Street. How are you?
Evening.
Good.
Yeah, that's at Beer and Tacos. It's the old Amici Pizza.
Yes, sir.
They have a contemporary awning out there now that I'm surprised ever got approved. What I have there is, I guess, somewhat simple. They want to go rustic, so as much of the metal that can be unfinished, or like the tie rods from above, if you see the picture of the existing awning, has stainless steel tie rods that go top to bottom. They want to use a rusty chain right there, which, set aside the patina of rust, I mean, that's the way that old awnings used to be supported, is with chain.
Right.
So, other than that, the gable on that drawing shows two 6x6 cedar pieces of wood that support the gable. So that's kind of different, worth mentioning. I think I highlighted it on that picture, but other than the wood and the chain, I would think everything is fairly typical. Certainly the shape. So,
Yeah.
Do we have a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Canvas,
no ma'am, that's going to be metal.
metal?
Just like State Farm down in the corner. You know, that's a tie rod supported awning from above has metal pans in it. So those metal pans, all you see from the road is the profile. I mean, the height of it. You don't see the pans, but on the actual gable, I put on their standing seam. I would prefer it to be a tin that we buffed with a grinder so that it could rust. But I figured that would be biting off a big bite. But you already got rusty chain, you already got an authentic rustic look with the cedar beams. So to me, having a standing seam, 20-year finish Kynar paint would be kind of, stand out. So to me, the whole thing should be rustic, but I didn't put that on there. I put standing seam. But I feel like I would rather put a typical tin, new, buff it a little bit so that it gets a little rust, so that it matches the rest.
And was that question mark bronze on there, just because I don't know if they're gonna ask this, and I'm curious, was that kind of just leaning towards that?
Well, that
more of
was
a
just, I had to
rustic-
give.
Rustic look rather
Yeah,
than the black?
yes, exactly. Standing seam, you gotta pick a color. Bronze, exactly, kind of,
Be closer to the rust than the black.
yeah.
I would prefer that.
I would prefer the rust, the tin, I like that.
Good. I didn't put that, but I did want to mention that, but I would love to
I
do
think
that.
that would look really nice.
They will like that better, too.
Well, I think this definitely looks less contemporary and more traditional than the one that's there. And we're trying to get away from some of these that are going up that are so contemporary. I don't know when they were approved, but going back to something more traditional, even though it's metal and not awning, as our book suggests that they be canvas awnings. So
Aren't you gonna do 10?
the book says canvas in here, but at least you've got that more of a canvas look than this straight glass look to it. It's not quite as contemporary looking. Just my thought.
The existing
I
structure.
think it'll look really nice.
And if I can add one thing that is not on that drawing, and for a reason, but they would like to do it, and I suggested it. Their logo is a barrel, like a whiskey barrel or whatever, how you call it. What is the likelihood we could support a barrel in that gable?
I'm
Like
not understanding.
having it hanging there,
Yes, have a barrel in the gable with chain holding it.
You mean it doesn't have to have the chain? You can do it without the chain?
I could do it in a couple of different ways. I could put that barrel there, but I wouldn't want to support it from the bottom. I would want it to have the effect of it's suspended.
Well, the main thing we were concerned about earlier when we talked to him is that he leave those windows stay visual, that we can see those windows. We don't want to hide those. So would that be a problem?
The barrel would be under the awning?
And inside the gable.
Just wanted to make that clear.
Well, I think you'd see through them, the window.
Yeah, everything's still open face, so,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you would have a barrel in front of it, but it's not a complete wipe out of space. And that barrel, mind you, because of the scale, they make two different size barrels, so it would be the smaller. They got one like this size and they got one like this size. So it'd be the smaller of the two barrels, also rustic.
When you say barrel, is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am, like a whiskey barrel.
Like the one next to the building? You're wanting to do a barrel?
Oh, no.
no,
No.
underneath the gable,
Uh-huh.
they want to hang a barrel, like a light, because that's the logo.
That's their logo, is a whiskey barrel.
Barrel, a wooden barrel. Oh,
More of the cask size.
a
Cask.
cask. Okay, I got you.
Than the
now.
barrel size. The barrels are huge, casks
Okay.
a little bit smaller.
Thank you, 'cause
Right.
I'm looking at
I didn't
that,
know the term, I'm
the
sorry.
barrel shape of the one next to it and getting confused.
So if the awning that's there now, that will be removed and replaced by the metal with the gable in the middle.
Yes, ma'am.
And so, but the way I'm picturing it, then a barrel is gonna cover up these windows, these traditional,
Yeah.
And I don't know how he's gonna deal with that window anyway. There's one that's missing altogether, I guess.
He
It
would
seems like they're
need-
pretty,
He needs to replace that glass and get it back, if he could find old glass, but he needs to redo those windows so that they're all the same. That's very unique to that building, and that needs to stay. And I just question how, I think a barrel would be in the middle of two of
I
those.
think so too.
Two of those windows. I think he may,
That's why I didn't draw it. I knew it was gonna be a
I don't think it's
cutting
too
it close
much.
for that barrel.
Yeah,
I think if, you know, if
I don't really think you need it.
no,
You're saying enough without it.
right.
There's a lot of stuff going on there.
I mean, you've got the tin and you've got the rusty.
Right.
so I
And the
think
cedar beams, yeah, it's,
back
the
off-
barrel is a,
I think it's an overkill. I don't think you need it.
Right,
And-
opened.
good.
No, I'm not on the
Right.
committee, but I would say too, that if you put this up, however they may or may not approve it, if it is approved, they could put it up, and then next time you come back with a perspective picture with a scale showing
Okay.
that,
That's
showing that in place and what
Right.
it would actually do to the view.
So it's not dead all the way if the owner.
You could always
know,
come back and ask for that
Right,
later,
That's what I think is.
if it
true.
would.
I'm glad you said that.
still
At
might
least
be
I don't have to go to him and say, no, I can say to him, this, that's perfect.
Because the scale of it's gonna make a big difference, one way or the other. But I do want to go back to your rods. You said that you could put this up without rods?
No, ma'am.
Oh, you can't.
No, ma'am.
Has to have the rod, those
ma'am.
chains or whatever that is.
so is it going to be the same level as what's there now?
You have a photo, sorry, of what's
Yes.
there now. The flat parts of the awning that are right and left of the gable are in the same identical spot.
Are you here?
Okay,
This picture,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
it's gonna be the same level?
Same level as that, except for obviously the gable in the middle. But the rest of the awning, right and left, keeps that same line as what's there now.
And then the gable is gonna come up how high?
Did I put a measurement on there? I didn't,
There are no dimensions on this.
I mean, just going by memory, I think that gable should be the same height as where the glass stops, up top.
As the glass?
At the top of the windows that are.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly
it's gonna
shallow
cover
gable.
two
It may not be
bays?
drawn to scale there.
The gable will cover 2 bays?
No, 1/3 of the total. So you
Well,
got,
if it's 1/3, it's gonna be in the middle of a window.
yeah, remember, there's some synergy going on there that's
Yeah,
off center.
because you'd be in the center of one of the windows, 2 of the windows.
No, the gable is 11 feet, so it's not 1/3. And it's done that way to reach that center, I remember. Because the total distance, I think, and you have to forgive me, I was in traffic on 285. I was going to get my briefcase and make it to the meeting, but I had to just come straight here. So I'm not able to look at what I
I
had.
think it's 25 foot is what you're showing on here.
Yeah, and it's actually 25 foot is their bay, but that existing awning goes like 27 feet. It actually goes past the property line a little bit. But I included it at the 25 feet, which is the property line. So if 11 of that is in the gable, then that leaves 14. That would be 7 and 7 to each side. And it would get back some synergy, at least in the sense of lapse coverage. I mean, it's still, there's going to be a door that's not on it, but the frontage would be centered.
Okay, this is what I'm seeing, though. Numbers don't mean a thing to me. I've got 1 bay, 2 bays, 3 bays, and then I've got that door, which would be a bay. The 3 bays look to be even distance, but the door looks like it's narrower. Is that correct? In other words, the 4 bays are not even across the top?
No, ma'am, I'm going to look at what you have.
Here, look.
See right here? Are all 4 of those bays the same?
Yes, ma'am.
They're the same distance? So if you're putting the gable in, is it gonna come from here to the top to there? Or is it gonna start in the middle of this one, in the middle of that one, and come up? You see what I'm saying?
Come up.
'Cause you gotta
I
get
love your work, so I just wanna make sure we're on the same page here.
And I'm sorry, I'm not, in that picture, that's the one I provided y'all, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
And this is a terrible angle for this conversation. I
That-
should have provided a dead face on.
Right, that's what's throwing me off.
Yeah, and I'm not able to agree or disagree totally. But as I remember, there is more footage to the right of the door facing the building. But if I take the total space of the building and put my gable dead middle of the building, then yes, the gable would be big enough that it overlaps the space in between those 2 wood poles. It would cover that, but yet the door behind that won't be.
Won't be centered. Yeah, that's what's bothering me. It won't be centered underneath there.
Right, but it centers, it puts you, by making it bigger, see, I went to 11 feet, so that this could be whitewashed, so to
Can we
speak.
get you back to the microphone by any chance, just because I'm sure this is not picking up terribly well?
I think we need to table it.
Can we get another picture with what you're talking about, with the barrel and everything drawn and front on, so we can better determine it, and maybe an email vote on that as well?
Can we,
I think we need a center front view where we can see what's matching up. Centered.
center front view with the gable? And then I think Patrick said, after we do approve this, then he could come back about the barrel.
Yeah, but if you're gonna table it, he can maybe even do that rendering, and it'll be a better perspective, and you could consider it all at the same time.
I would
Next
ask,
month.
in that vein, then, I would ask for a rendering without the barrel and one with the barrel.
But centered, dead centered over.
And what I'll do is just do everything to scale, provide a dead center photograph to back it up, put the gable where it's going to be in reality, and just do it to scale, because I know that sketch right there somewhere that says they're not to scale, and maybe I should have had it all. Maybe I messed up. But yes, I appreciate the opportunity to.
Well, I mean, I went down and looked at the building, and I looked at the drawing, and I couldn't make it fit to scale, to be centered, I guess is my problem as an artist.
Oh, you did good.
Yeah. So,
So it looks like we got a motion to table this one until the renderings come in,
yes.
front on.
And
Scale
when
and-
they come in, y'all look at them, and maybe we are able to either yay or nay it before next month. Is that
Right.
kind of like the common goal, maybe?
Well, it looks a lot better than what was there, so, we're on the right track, I think.
And if that gable, just so that I know as I draw and plan, if I'm not able to get that peak of that gable in the peak seam of that double door, is that a no?
Can you what?
If he can't get the peak of the gable with the center seam of the door, is that a no?
Oh, I don't,
We'd have to see it.
I mean, that's what
yeah,
we're gunning for, but I guess to give an
I have
answer
to
now.
see it. I have
Okay.
to see.
I mean,
All right,
it's a-
because I think, as I move forward, I think it's going to be impossible unless one of the, I mean, I could put the gable dead center, instead of having a 7 and a 7 right and left, it might be a 7 and a 5 and a 9.
Well, that might look better, actually.
I'll draw
Have it all
both ways.
centered.
I'll draw it both ways, because that would be one way to
Yeah,
I can center that, it would just change the flat spots, and I was keeping them even, so maybe that's not as important as centering the gable. I appreciate your detail in looking at
yeah.
that.
Because I think that gable is gonna be so dominant that if it's not centered over that door, it's gonna look cattywampus.
Okay, I
mean,
agree.
that's just my feeling.
I agree.
What do y'all think?
It's gonna be the main feature you see.
Right.
Well, I'm just gonna put it center for the drawing, instead of drawing it off center, that would be incorrect at this point, after hearing what you said.
Do both
Why draw
ways
it
and
wrong?
yeah,
I mean,
let's
I'll
see.
draw it with a different,
Let's
let the sides take up the slack, and go from there.
Okay, so it looks like we're gonna table this one.
Table it. I move, do we need to say a motion? I make a motion that we table this COA until we get elevation views from the center of the proposed canopy, gable,
And front on.
and the
views.
front view, front views, front elevations.
Can I get a second?
Before I second it, if he can get that to us before a whole month, could we have a call meeting, because he was at a month?
I can come, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not gonna take you that long to draw it.
No, ma'am.
Could it be one we did, voted?
But Paul, I think we need both that off-centered that you were doing,
Okay,
you
so
know.
don't just eliminate it, still
And do
include it.
it centered so we can see what it would look like
All
on
right.
that.
Is it one we can email vote on instead of having a
Yeah,
called
yeah,
vote?
we,
Ms. Fay, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Is it one we can have a call, an email vote on? Do it through email, or do we need to get back together, Mr. Kelly?
I mean, I suppose that all of them could be done that way if you didn't consider that was gonna affect anybody, or if anybody was here to speak against it. So, yeah, I guess you could look at whatever renderings he came up with.
Okay, so what we got is,
wait a minute, Jane's got a question.
Really depending on the
I
On that
personally
code of ordinances.
rather meet and sit.
Okay.
In case we have any questions for him, we can get everything ironed out at one time, so he won't have to keep coming back and redrawing, and doing all that. I just feel like it's more fair to him.
okay. So we got a motion to table it, waiting for your drawings, and then you get them in, and we will have a called meeting
Yeah,
to look at them.
And that works just like this meeting, it's just this custom, it's fit in.
quickly.
Gotcha.
Can I get a second on that? All in favor of that motion, say aye. Aye. All right, so just send it all over to Laura, and she'll let us know, and we'll figure out when we can get together.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there any old business we need to attend to?
I think some of the new business might have became old business while we were here.
We what?
Just kidding.
What we can't do.
No, I said,
is
I
there
think some
any-
of the new business might have become old business in this meeting.
Is there any old business we need to attend to?
Well, for me, the letter to the row, I think if it's worded exactly right, the pictures were part of the reason we voted, and they went past the pictures, and we never dreamed anything deconstruction was happening. And I think that needs to be addressed.
Okay. Have y'all drafted the letter and,
Well, they said the way it's worded in the minutes, we couldn't send a letter, but I think we can.
Looking at the minutes, I don't see anything in the minutes that would give us a leg to stand on.
But the vote was based on the presentation, not just the wording of the COA. I mean, it was and it says in the minutes that he gave a presentation.
It was a completely different Spring Street rendering that we voted on.
And the front's different too,
Well, it
totally
was-
different.
Was the black and white awning that's up there, was that thing?
No,
That's new, I think.
right,
That's been put up in the lately,
yeah.
and they have not been back to get permission for that.
well, if you want to address it with them and ask them to make corrections or changes, you're going to have to ask them to come here and talk to you about it.
So word the letter such that it says, hey, we got some questions, we need y'all to come over here.
Yes.
Because I've told them that it's coming for months, so it won't be a surprise to them.
But I mean, we just had somebody tonight doing an awning, and they just put up an awning and didn't bother with us.
It did not even come before us to put up the awning, nor that little artwork that's down below the awning.
And I'm a good customer, I don't wanna make them mad.
But it's not, it's a precedent, we don't need to get started, people be able to just do what they want to do.
100% agree.
Well, that's what we're letting happen in Mill Village with all these different size windows.
We need to get city council to do what you've tried to, how do we do that? If you didn't have any success.
Oh, that wouldn't be the only thing I didn't have success on. I mean, I've had plenty of successes, but a lot of failures as well along the years. Just address it again. We have a planning meeting coming up sometime in the near future, and we'll just add it to the list of things that we'd like to implement to make things easier on the citizenry.
You mean we come or give it to you?
No, we'll do it. The city planner's here, I'm here.
Laura?
We'll bring it up in the planning meeting.
I just think if we don't do all the same, we're opening a can of worms.
I agree.
And we're trying to make it authentic and take it back to what it was, and
It never was that.
We don't wanna just let things slide by like a new awning.
Right.
At they didn't come before us.
Sure.
This person,
Call them on the carpet. That'll be part of the new process.
and I think the city should add that to people's utility bills to let them know they are.
So can we word that now so Laura can send the letter?
Sure.
And also, I mean, like Josh said, he didn't want to, have to get new windows because of the cost of it. He's in real estate. He knows.
This is not his first go-round of cart before the horse. I didn't want to call him out in front of a crowd of people, but this is kind of standard operating procedure for Mr. Parker.
Yeah, that's
And
not
this is at least the second time, but
Just
yeah.
know the man at 407 Church Street.
Yeah, there you go. They're cousins.
Well, I mean, with what these realtors are making today on real estate, the money doesn't bother me a bit telling him he's got to redo it.
Right.
I told him I'd make a fair assessment of what we discussed and, give him the fair shake, whichever way it looked to me, give you all a fair assessment and let you make the decision. That's all I can do.
And I really do think that we need to be consistent because those houses, they're flipping those things going and
That's what
coming.
they're doing, they're,
And we need to be consistent with what we're saying.
instead of one having 1/1 and 2/1.
Right.
6/6 and
Right.
9/9. I mean, we have to.
But they have to know when they purchase in the historic district that it is, and see, that's where the communication is falling through the cracks because they don't know.
Well,
Well,
because
if
the
they
real
came in,
estate
look,
people
I
don't-
want to defend that a little bit because it's kind of a dead horse and everybody wants to beat it still. But it's their responsibility to know. And if they came in ahead of time to apply for a permit to make these changes, we would tell them they're in the historic district when we looked up the address. So telling them when they sign up for the utilities, they can still say they didn't know that. But when they come in, if they would come in intending to follow the procedures of the city and get permits as they're required to do for any changes to their structure, then they'd be told at the permitting point, and there wouldn't be any need for that notification on the utilities.
But they're not all gonna come in.
Yeah, anybody that's a responsible adult that owns a property knows that they have to get permits in a municipality or a county to make changes.
I know, they do know that, and they're trying to pull the wool over our eyes when they do know it. And I resent that.
That's the part I don't say out loud, but yes, you're absolutely right.
They know what they're doing.
Well, and the real estate agents don't want to tell them because they might lose a sale.
Well, and also, a lot of times, when you permit things and you have to adhere to new codes on an old house, it does add cost.
Is there anything we can stick on every mill house in Monroe that's in the historic district and say, this has to come before a board for any, anything you might want to change on it? I mean, is there any?
I guess if we had a budget for it, we could get a placard for every address and
Not a placard.
something to,
Just a piece of paper.
Just something that rain doesn't destroy.
right?
And so they won't have any excuse then if the realtors aren't going to tell them.
Right, except for if the property owner doesn't want to know and they remove it. I mean, it's just, there's a way around everything. I've been doing this for 20 years.
That's
If
what
people
rules
want to
are.
comply, they do. If they don't want to comply, they only do if you catch them.
Just pull that off and say,
We didn't know.
"Wasn't there." I didn't
It's,
see that.
it's really dealing with adults or not adults. If you want to do things right, you're going to do things right. And if you don't,
Well, is it
you're going to try and
clear?
skirt the rules.
Is it clear in the code office where the historic property lines are?
Yeah, we have a map of the historic districts. I thought I sent that to everybody.
Well, we have one, but.
Yeah, we've got it in our office.
And so whoever, if they're applying for a permit, that person should know, hey, this is a historic property.
Yeah, we'll look and see if it's in the historic district, because,
They were gonna email us a copy that we could print out or something.
yeah, I think I did. But I can do it again.
Well, we have,
Yeah.
I was gonna say,
Oh, that's what it was. We haven't got the addresses on it yet. I'm sorry.
right, that's it.
It didn't have the addresses. We were going to get the addresses on the map and get it to you, so my apologies. I thought it was done, but we didn't do that.
Is there any other new business, old business?
Wait a minute. So Laura's gonna send the letter? Do we need to word it, or are you
Yeah.
comfortable with it?
What does it say?
I will put together a draft from what we've discussed tonight for you guys to read and approve before I send it out, because I've got a fairly good idea of what it needs to say from our discussion. Does that work for everybody?
It works for me.
Which, I didn't.
She's gonna put a draft together.
Perfect. I'm sorry I don't hear, but
Let me ask a question, and I know you're ready to go, Mitch, and I'll be quick. If the road just says, we have put so much money in this and we are not gonna change it, what do we do?
fine them.
Well, a fine is not gonna mean
$5,000, $100,000. I mean, you know, I don't know.
$1,000 a day.
It says we can find them. It says we can. You know, I think if we just talk to this guy, I think we can get him to see what the problem is. Because he says he wants to do it historically correct, but his wife saw this building when they were in Europe and liked it being deconstructed and thought that would be good. So I think if we say either go back to the original building, which is historically correct, or fix it like it's been for the last 50 years or so, you know. I mean, I think he'll be reasonable. It's not that much of money involved, I don't believe.
I don't know. I mean,
Because he should have fixed it to start with when he put the windows in. Right, Patrick?
Well,
If
I
you
mean-
were building, wouldn't you have normally fixed that when you did the windows?
If I intended to fix it, I would, but if I thought that both of those materials were historically correct materials and showing both
Right.
was not a problem, I might think his way.
well, the problem is they presented something and then produced something else.
Right.
Right?
We would have never voted for that, deconstruction.
The matter would be substantial conformance, basically, is what you'd be looking for is substantial conformance. Things, especially old buildings, are quirky and difficult and expensive, so a substantial conformance would be the best way I could put it, is what you would be looking for with what they presented. I'd have to look over the file to see what they presented.
You've got a
And
picture, yeah.
I wasn't on the committee then, so I don't know.
Right. And I've got it
With you.
on my, in an email, in a digital format. I can look at it again.
Susan
That's
also
where I
went,
copied it. It was from you.
Mhm.
From y'all. I mean, it was on our computer that night.
All right, well, I personally like the look of the road, but I know it's not historically correct.
right, and then I agree with you. I like the look, but one thing that we learned in that workshop we went to is that when you do downtown construction, it needs to radiate the look. You know what I mean? Everything needs to look like something else that's there. And that was the perfect example across the street of mirror imaging the marble. You know, it had that balance, I'm saying, the balance of look. But now it just doesn't carry the weight that it carried before.
Well, I don't know what the answer is exactly, but we'll figure it out.
Well, we don't
I will
have
tell
any
you, this
deconstruction.
makes me look forward to next month's meeting more than ever, because
Oh, it's
we've
gonna
got
be bad with that other one too.
we got a new one coming that's gonna be so
We're gonna
much.
have to figure that one out. They gonna ask to tear down the braid place. The braid, where they braid hair,
That's an old Domino's.
where the old Troy Theater used to be.
There's nothing,
Why do they want to tear that down?
That's.
Build a
that's-
building.
that's The Peters guy that they wanna build the new building and all the stuff there.
there's nothing historic about that.
That Domino's is not
It was
historic.
built
No, no,
It
the
was
theater was, but the old,
Troy Theater, but it burned.
yeah,
Gone, there's
And
nothing we
then
can
they
do about
built,
that.
the other was the Lucky Wishbone, wasn't it?
yeah, and there might
It
be,
was built in the 70s, so
yeah.
Okay, is there any other old business we need to talk about?
You can't lay out next month, Mitch.
we need you there.
My last meeting is in May.
Okay, in May, okay, good.
Starving to death.
Do we have any new business we need to attend to? It's 7:28. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Let's go eat.